unravel every time we have an election, an agenda that makes sense and rebuild another agenda. We have to find a way to have a maturity in the political process to keep building off each other's successes and working together across political divides. Because actually the ideological differences are almost minuscule as far as I can observe as an outsider from the region. Regionally and at the country level, we need to make sure that we can try and use the United Nations frameworks on human rights, sustainable development goals, health in all policies, many UN frameworks, adjust them to the reality on the ground, and then use them in the interests of the people and citizens of the country. And then lastly, I would just like to say, I commit the UN and the UN family in the Caribbean to do what we can do to partner in a practical way anything that supports the human development journey from survivability to sustainability. I thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And not to sort of offend anyone in the room, we have dispensed with most protocols from the very inception, taking our cue from Minister Dukaran and others. Let me now very quickly introduce our Senator Dr. the Honorable Bohendranath Tiwari, who is our Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development here in Trinidad and Tobago, to share some thoughts on a new approach to sustainable development governance in the Caribbean and asking the question, is it really happening?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I want to acknowledge the effort of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and the collaborative engagement with the UNDP, the University of the West Indies, and the Commonwealth Secretariat that gave us this forum here this morning and over the last couple of days. And I'm happy that you are here and that I am able to share my thoughts with you. A new approach to sustainable development governance. Is it happening? This is the topic that I've been asked to speak on. And if the question that I need to answer is it happening in Trinidad and Tobago? Then I think that the answer I would have to give is yes. How can I possibly say that? I can say that because we have been taking sustainable development very seriously in this country, striving for a balance between economic progress, environmental conservation, and socio-cultural harmony. And we have crafted governance institutions and mechanisms to achieve sustainable outcomes. Let me say from the outset that sustainable development itself is a disruptive idea, which our government has embraced since 2010. The sustainable development idea has gained currency because there is a worldwide rebellion against privilege. There is a strong movement that is rethinking corporate behavior and the framework for a multi-stakeholder benefits approach to capitalism. And there is a save our planet perspective that is gaining momentum and currency in the world. And I want to say that the disruptive idea concept comes from Joseph Schumpeter, who in the 19th century spoke about the entrepreneurial intervention as an idea that disrupts and creates new opportunity. Our manifesto of 2010 established a sustainable development framework and was adopted as government policy. The United Nations has now made sustainable development one of 17 and the number one driving force in the post-millennium development, 2015 Millennium Development Goals. The medium-term policy framework 2011 to 2014 derived from this and has guided budgetary allocation in 2011-12, 12-13, 13-14, and 14-15 on 5 priorities: crime and law and order, agriculture and food security, healthcare services and hospitals, economic growth, job creation, diversification, competitiveness and innovation, and poverty reduction and human capital development. It should not be forgotten that we have established 2 ministries, one called Planning and Sustainable Development, and a ministry involved with and focused on environment and water resources. Our manifesto committed to prosperity for all, and our medium-term policy framework envisioned that, and I quote from it, "Through creativity, innovation, and collaboration, we shall prosper together." A sustainable development report working for sustainable development in Trinidad and Tobago, aligned to the medium-term policy framework, was developed to guide Trinidad and Tobago's participation at the Rio +20 Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012. 3 pillars of sustainable development: economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability, are highlighted in this document, and 12 challenges to address through action are identified. Over the last 5 years, therefore, we have been guided by lofty ideas. We have budgeted for identified priorities. We have implemented through ministries and other state institutions, and collaborated with the private business sector and as well as the NGO sector to achieve objectives and to deliver the results. Plans and projects are meaningful only if implemented, and implementation or execution is what makes development happen. To strengthen the disposition to implementation, actions need to be measured and evaluated. We have therefore established a monitoring and evaluation unit to do this, a performance framework to guide us, one of only a handful of countries in the world to do so, and a performance report to record actual performance on 48 indicators linked to the 5 priorities mentioned, financed by the budget every year. These annual reports on performance are duly laid in Parliament and have been since 2012. Over the last 5 years, and especially over the last 4, there has been good alignment between philosophy, policy, strategy, plan, execution, and monitoring and evaluation. This had been made possible because of the focus and orientation of the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, because of the support of the Honorable Prime Minister and Cabinet, because of key structures within the same ministry, planning, which have been strengthened, and because of new structures and our institutions created to support ministerial action. How does this work? First of all, there's a division in the ministry responsible for socio-economic planning, which leads the socio-economic development planning process through the formulation, coordination, and continuous review of medium and long-term strategies and policies for national development in consultation with other government agencies and other stakeholders. At the present time, they are preparing an action agenda 2015-2025. This division, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also handles government's relationship with the United Nations and Trinidad and Tobago's participation in the post-2015 development process. Complementing this institution is the Project Planning and Reconstruction Division. They prepare the Public Sector Investment Program, which is the capital expenditure component of the national budget, consisting generally of an amalgamation of individual projects and programs that are linked to 5 priorities and strives for geographical spread. The PSIP is the instrument available to government to translate its plans, objectives, and strategies into tangible projects and programs with a view to accelerating growth and development within the country, and therefore the transformation agenda of the government. The PSIP program has since 2012 been operating on a 3-year rolling plan basis. While SEP, that is the Socio-Economic Planning Unit, and the PPRD, responsible for PSIP, deal with socio-economic development issues, spatial planning, an ingredient for overall national development, is handled by the Town and Country Planning Division. The Town and Country Planning Division is charged with the responsibility for administering the laws of the Town and Country Planning Act, Chapter 3501 of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. The functions of the division are to secure consistency and continuity in the framing and execution of a comprehensive policy with respect to the use and development of all land in Trinidad and Tobago. And land is an asset like labor and capital that is critical for the development process. The Town and Country Planning Division has been dramatically transformed to provide customer service, to be more responsive and helpful to the citizen, and a collaborative framework via special committee has been established to address the larger projects. Under my watch, the Town and Country Planning Division outdid itself by working with the National Planning Task Force, which is made up of volunteering professionals, to complete the National Spatial Development Strategy and to support the passage of the Planning and Facilitation Bill, which actually abolishes the Town and Country Planning Division and establishes in its place a National Planning Authority and decentralizes the process of simple applications to local government authorities and the THA. The National Transformation Unit is the newest addition, and its mandate includes building assessment and evaluation capability for Trinidad and Tobago, which includes building public sector capacity in monitoring and evaluation. Additionally, the National Transformation Unit is also required to monitor and evaluate the implementation of national policies and plans on the basis of identified indicators. The NTU also monitors performance on the basis of commitment made in the manifesto in 9 areas of policy shift. And I want to say that the policy shifts that we have advocated are only 9 in number, so there is continuity as well as change. We have 2 advisory bodies, which I will not elaborate on. They tell me I have 5 minutes, which are the Economic Development Board and the Council for Competitiveness and Innovation. But what they do is that they push the competitiveness agenda, the diversification agenda in 7 clusters, and the growth poles agenda, of which there are 5, and which we are going to add 2 to in the coming period. Implementation is always a challenge. In my view, we have been successful at the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development because of leadership, clarity of purpose, organizational capacity structured to achieve results, because of the promotion of a climate of collaboration, partnership, and creativity, and because of the setting of deadlines and targets. On policy issues, a swift turnaround is valued at our ministry. The PSIP has timelines which need to be met during the year. NTU has to operate within a budgetary cycle and perform accordingly, and collaborate with others to meet deadlines. Town and Country Planning was given clear targets as part of the process of reform.